a Hollywood saga, a legal duel that has captivated the world. The battle between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard rages on. We find ourselves in the midst of a fresh chapter in this long and convoluted narrative, as Depp now appeals the sole victory Heard clinched in their gripping defamation trial this summer. Back in June, Depp was handed a hefty $15 million in damages, with an additional $5 million in punitive damages, which was ultimately capped at $350,000 due to Virginia's legal limit. This left him with a total of $10.35 million. Heard, on the other hand, was awarded $2 million, a result of the jury's verdict that former Depp attorney Adam Waldman had slandered her. In an unexpected turn of events, we now see Depp challenging Heard's win. This comes after Heard had already lodged an appeal against Depp's win in July. A game of legal ping-pong, it seems, where the ball is allegations and millions of dollars. This cycle of counter-appeals is merely the latest development in the media sensation that is the Fairfax County, Virginia trial of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. When the trial was in its oral argument phase this spring, it held the nation spellbound. It was a spectacle that managed to double daytime ratings for court TV and had hashtags associated with the trial trending across Twitter. But beneath the glitz and glamour, the trial was a murky, perplexing affair. Ostensibly a defamation trial over a newspaper article, it quickly became a battleground for two narratives. Amber Heard claimed Johnny Depp abused her. Depp countered with allegations of abuse against Heard, a clash of accusations that leaves us wondering who is the real victim here. As the nation watches, the question on everyone's lips is, what's the truth? The trial, as perplexing as it is murky, has one central conflict. At its heart are two individuals, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, each accusing the other of abuse. This isn't a simple case of he said, she said, but rather a complex entanglement of allegations, emotions, and public opinion. Heard, standing firm, alleges that Depp was the abuser. Depp, on the other hand, refutes this, claiming that he was the one subjected to abuse. The question that looms large over this trial is, who is the real victim here? In a turn that has left many stunned, both the jury and the vocal majority on the internet have overwhelmingly sided with Depp. This is particularly striking considering that Depp had previously lost a similar case in the United Kingdom. However, the situation is far from black and white. There is compelling evidence suggesting that violence may have been a two-way street in their tumultuous relationship. Yet the jury's verdict seems to suggest that Heard was not the primary aggressor. This leaves us in a quagmire of doubt and confusion. Depp's win has left many questioning whether his public profile played a significant role in the decision. After all, he's enjoyed a long, successful career, captivating audiences with his performances in various critically acclaimed films. This has undoubtedly earned him a considerable amount of goodwill. Heard, in a statement following the verdict, seemed to echo this sentiment. She expressed her disappointment, attributing Depp's win to his powerful public profile. She lamented the setback this verdict represents for women who have the courage to speak up against abuse. In this post-MeToo world, the verdict has left many questioning. Was justice truly served? The tide of public opinion may sway one way, but the truth of what happened between Heard and Depp remains as murky as ever. This trial, with all its twists and turns, serves as a stark reminder of the complexities that often surround cases of alleged abuse. In the court of public opinion, Johnny Depp holds sway. This statement holds significant weight, especially considering the recent turn of events in the courtroom. Over the course of his illustrious career, Depp has managed to carve out a public profile that is as powerful as it is enduring. From his critically acclaimed performances in films such as Edward Scissorhands and Donnie Brasco, to his iconic portrayal of Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Depp has built a reservoir of goodwill and admiration from the public. Such is the power of his public profile that it seems to transcend the confines of the silver screen. Depp, a three-time Oscar nominee and two-time recipient of People's Sexiest Man Alive title for a considerable period, had an appeal so bankable that he seemed untouchable. His name was etched alongside other Hollywood heavyweights like George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Leonardo DiCaprio. However, it's important to note that public profiles are not built on accolades and box office successes alone. They are a reflection of an individual's persona, their actions, and how they are perceived by the public. In Depp's case, his profile has been further amplified by his personal and financial troubles that have been widely reported in the media. Amber Heard, in a poignant statement, attributed Depp's win to this very public profile. She expressed her heartbreak, stating, "I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence and sway of my ex-husband." Heard's disappointment was not limited to her personal situation. She went on to express concern about what this verdict meant for other women, characterizing it as a setback, a return to a time when women who spoke up could be publicly shamed and humiliated. This brings us to a critical juncture where we must question the role of public profiles in influencing justice. The verdict, a setback for women, has left many questioning the power of a public profile in influencing justice. It's a question that merits deep introspection in our collective pursuit of fairness and equality. A star once at the pinnacle of Hollywood, Johnny Depp's fall has been steep. A journey that started with hits like Edward Scissorhands and Donnie Brasco and skyrocketed with the Pirates of the Caribbean series took a downward spiral as the 2010 S rolled in. Depp, a three-time Oscar nominee and twice named People's Sexiest Man Alive, found his film career in decline. His roles became less critically acclaimed and his public image began to tarnish. As the shine of his professional life dimmed, his personal and financial troubles came to light. In the year 2017, Depp found himself in legal battles not with a scorned ex-lover or a rival actor, but with his own longtime business managers and entertainment lawyer. His claim? They had mismanaged his finances. It seemed that the golden boy of Hollywood was losing his Midas touch, and his empire was crumbling around him. Around this time, Rolling Stone magazine published a profile of Depp that was far from flattering. The article painted a picture of a man fading from the limelight, a once-adored icon now deluded by his previous success. His reality, it appeared, was distorted by his wealth, fame, and reportedly copious amounts of drugs. Rolling Stone didn't mince words, stating that Depp was a punchline, bankrupt, isolated, and one more mistake away from being blackballed from his industry. The man who was once in the league of George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Leonardo DiCaprio was now the subject of a narrative that read more like a cautionary tale. The star who once seemed so bankable now appeared to be a risky investment. The 2010 S were not kind to Depp. His star power diminished, his personal life became a spectacle, and his finances a mess. The man who once stood at the summit of Hollywood was now navigating a precipitous decline. With a public profile that once seemed invincible, Depp's fall from grace has been both swift and public. The trial has sparked a backlash, a counterpoint to the MeToo movement. This case, filled with its twists and turns, has ironically become a litmus test for the progress of the MeToo movement, a movement that has been instrumental in giving a voice to victims of sexual harassment and abuse. The public, in this instance, largely sided with Johnny Depp, a man who has lost a similar case in the UK and whose relationship with Amber Heard appears to have been marred by mutual violence. This observation raises some unsettling questions about the biases that still cloud our judgment, even in the age of MeToo. It's a sharp reminder that despite the strides we've made, there is still a lot of work to be done to dismantle the entrenched prejudices that often silence victims and favour the powerful. It's a reality check that the battle against the status quo, against the power of public profile, and against the biases that still persist is far from over. Amber Heard, in her statement post-verdict, encapsulated this feeling perfectly. She expressed heartbreak that despite the mountain of evidence, it was not enough to counterbalance the power, influence and sway of her ex-husband. Heard's disappointment was not just for her, but for what this verdict signifies for other women, for other victims who dare to speak up and speak out. Her words underscore the setback this trial represents. It harks back to an era when women who dared to voice their experiences were publicly shamed and humiliated. It flies in the face of the notion that violence against women is a grave issue to be taken seriously. As the dust settles, the impact of this trial on the MeToo movement and its message is clear. There is still a long way to go. The road to justice, fairness and equality is still littered with obstacles, but the struggle continues and the fight for the voiceless goes on. Because if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? A legal battle that has captivated the world, the Depp versus Heard saga is far from over. The recent appeal by Johnny Depp against Amber Heard's only win in their defamation trial is the latest twist in this complex and high-profile case. The saga began with a newspaper article, morphing into a labyrinth of accusations and counter-accusations between two Hollywood heavyweights. The heart of the conflict? The question of who was the abuser and who was the abused. This trial, set against the backdrop of the post-MeToo era, has highlighted the power of public profiles. Johnny Depp, despite not having a critical hit in over a decade, has a strong public following. This goodwill, built over a long and distinguished career, has been a significant factor in the trial's outcome thus far. However, we cannot ignore the decline of Depp. The once bankable star, compared to the likes of George Clooney and Brad Pitt, has seen his film career take a downward trajectory in the 2010s. This decline, coupled with personal and financial issues, has painted a picture of a fading icon, further complicating the narrative of the trial. The impact of this trial on the MeToo movement is profound. The verdict, as Amber Heard pointed out, could be seen as a setback for women who speak out against violence. It raises questions about the weight of evidence against the power and influence of a high-profile figure. It's a stark reminder of the challenges that still exist in the fight against sexual violence and harassment. As the saga continues, the world watches, waiting for the final act in this real-life Hollywood drama.